Good morning from my garden in the San Juan Islands. Super excited to give you a little bit of an update. The hugels are fully planted and ready for spring. So I thought I'd give you a little walkthrough tour just to show you what each bed is doing, and again, some additional benefits of planting in a hugelkultur mound. Okay, so as you may remember from my previous post, I kind of went through a really quick intro on how to make these hugels. It actually wasn't super complicated. It took a bunch of alder logs that I found rotting on our property, sticks, bark, compost, and then some soil, and made these mounds. Now, one of the benefits of the hugelkultur mound is that you don't have to have a garden bed built in order to plant. And an extra benefit is that you have the ends, the tops, and the sides to plant in as well. So I'm all planted for spring. I'm really excited, and I'm going to walk you through each mound and tell you a little bit more about where I planted and why. And just hopefully you can find something helpful from it. And I'm excited to share it with you. So this bed is dedicated to all of my cruciferous vegetables. You can see here on the right side of the bed, all the way up to about halfway, are all of my broccoli plants. On the left side of the bed, you have all of my cauliflower plants. And down the middle, I have sage, oregano, and catnip. Now, those provide really excellent companion planting benefits to your cruciferous vegetables. They do things for other plants as well. It's good to check though, because they don't go with everything. But sage is something that attracts flea beetles and beetles from your plants. Oregano has an antifungal property that's excellent for any of your greens. And catnip can attract aphids as well as beetles and ants away from your leafy greens. I also have thyme here, which I had planted last year, and it actually just does beautifully there, so I just leave it there. Now, a little further down on that same bed, I planted spinach. You can see I went a little crazy with spinach this year. I also planted along the edge of all of these hugels. I went ahead and planted nasturtiums, and on the ends of the hugels on this side don't get as much sunlight. But nasturtiums are really, really easy to grow. You can eat the flowers, and they also attract aphids away from your greens. So they're an excellent companion plant. So here we are with the middle mound, and this mound is really kind of dedicated to my salads. It just does really, really well with lettuces in this mound, as well as a few other things. So I'll show you what I've got going here. These strawberry bushes that you see on the ends that already have some flowers. So we're going to definitely have a nice little strawberry crop here. Those were a gift from a neighbor. I put those in the ground last year. They didn't really produce, but they look like they're going to do really well this year. I also have a little lavender plant here, and this is some tatsoi and rainbow chard. And then I planted by seed romaine. You can see it's already starting to come up a little bit, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then my butter lettuce crop. Right here you can see I have my sweet peas. Those are such a great spring thing to plant because they really can withstand a lot of negative weather. So if you do end up having kind of a cold snap, they do seem to fare pretty well through that. And they're already growing a ton. And here I have my zucchini patch. Now, zucchini plants grow to be huge, so they will take up this whole mound. So I planted them kind of middle part of the mound and pretty far apart to give them plenty of room to grow. So hopefully I'll get a really nice harvest from zucchini plants this year. At the end of the mounds, again, I don't get as much sun down here, so it's a great place for herbs and other things. I planted some mint marigold that I'm waiting to come up. It's still in the ground. I haven't seen anything spark up yet from that. And then I do have oregano here and another mint plant over there. And I planted along the ends and along the edges of the hugels. I went ahead and planted a bunch more nasturtiums because, again, they're very easy to grow and they are an excellent companion plant. Now on the end of this hugel, you can see I have little cucumber plants. I have 2 starts and 1 little patch that I started by seed. So I have planted them next to this trellis because last year I used a little tiny trellis for my lemon cucumbers, and it was a really excellent way to grow cucumbers because they are a vine plant, and so it kept the crop off the ground, so I had a higher yield. And I it just was really nice not to have to crawl around on the ground to pick my cucumbers. And now for this final mound. This mound, I grew a ton of kale here last year, so when I planted kale again, I was like, this is definitely the spot for it. You can see this one is already doing so beautiful. I'm probably going to harvest a little of that today for dinner. And you can see I have these really excellent kale starts that I started last winter, and they somehow survived. I dug them out. I found them kind of struggling on the side of the mound, so I dug them out and put them up here with some compost, and they're doing so much better. And you can see again, this one's just doing excellent. I also put in, this is a salad blend, a mesclun blend, and then another couple tatsoi, and then another little romaine patch. You can see them coming up there. I'm gonna have to thin those at some point pretty soon here. You can see I've got another little bit here and a little bit here. We eat a lot of salad. It's pretty evident. So I wanted a lot of greens because that is something we use a lot of. I also did a little planting of some red chard here and a little jalapeno plant. My husband actually found that, and I thought, you know, this is a really great place for it because it's very sunny. And this is where I grew eggplant last year really successfully. So I have a lot of intention of getting a couple more eggplant starts this year and putting them here, and probably do 4 instead of 2, just to double my yield that I got from last year. And then right between these 2 poles, I planted my green beans. Now, green beans are a really great companion plant with kale because they're a nitrogen fixer. So I am really excited to see what comes from my green beans. I planted Blue Lake green beans here. So my hope is that they will grow tall, and it's a really sunny spot for them. So I'm hoping they'll be really successful there. And then on the back part of the mound, you can see I planted another oregano, because again, that antifungal property of the oregano, and also a little mint, which attracts things away from your greens, specifically the things that chew holes in your kale. So my hope is I will have some really nice hardy leaves without any holes in them, just like this. Well, that's my spring planting update. I hope that you found it interesting, and really hope you find a way to incorporate some Hugelkultur mounds on your property as well.